info dump or don't say a word. Move my head around like a startled bird. Can't do housework when I choose. When I win, I convince myself I lose. Fabric feels weird against my skin. I gotta hold my breath when I take out the bin. Can't go out cause it's too hot and bright. I can't sleep at night cause there's too much light. The bees in my brain won't let me speak. My thought process is quite unique. The mask comes off and now I'm weird. Everything is as I feared. Living in this world can be quite a chore. We've all had enough, but we still want more. Leave me alone. I don't want interference. Wait, not, mate. That's your autistic experience.
Hello and welcome to the Autistic Experience. We used to be the social survival guide, but now we've expanded and evolved, and we're trying to figure out how to actually start this particular podcast. So, if you'll bear with us, we can find our way as we go. So, my name is Kieran, as always joined by Chloe.
Hey.
Hi. New episodes come out every Sunday at noon British time, and you can go follow us on Instagram at the Autistic Experience. So, the Autistic Experience, the podcast, is all about rounding up what's happening in our community, whether that's news, current events, that sort of thing. We'll kind of tie it up all in a nice little package and present it to you, just so you can understand, what's going on in the wider world of autism, ADHD, various neurodivergences. Now, we can't possibly cover everything that's happened in the past week because there's only two of us and our attention span is bad enough under the best of circumstances. But we've kind of cherry-picked certain bits and pieces just to kind of give a nice broad range of information. And even then, we haven't necessarily gotten everything into the podcast that we researched. So what we'll do is we'll put the links that we haven't used up onto our Instagram page, which is at the Autistic Experience, and you can peruse them at your leisure, as well as, of course, the news stories that we do cover, so you can read about them in more detail if you want. But first, what have we done in the last week, just us two?
Oof.
The personal catching up session of the podcast.
It's been actually, for us, a relatively busy week, I think, hasn't it, really?
Yeah, I think so.
I haven't had a day off apart from today.
No. And today's recovery from yesterday, isn't it?
But I suppose I've done a social this week, which I don't usually do,
Ooh.
which is good.
Have you?
Yeah, on Monday.
Oh, okay.
And I'm going to do another socialise today.
Ooh. Ooh.
But, we took a little day trip, didn't we?
We did.
We went to Leeds.
We did.
To go to the theatre.
Ooh.
And see a play. See a performance.
Oh, wow. That was because one of the people in that play you're friends with. It's a weird way of saying that.
You're friends
You're friends with. Yes, completely normal way. But yeah, you know one of the people in it.
I do. I have a connection.
Yeah, connection to the industry.
Mm-hmm.
He got us tickets.
Mm-hmm.
And it was actually a very good play. It was called, what was it called again?
The House with Chicken Legs.
The House with Chicken Legs. It's a musical based on kind of the Eastern European folklore of Baba Yaga.
Yeah.
And it was just very interesting.
It was very good.
It was a lot of fun as well.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. And it's quite a small team that work on it.
Yeah, it's only six people
actors,
in the entire thing.
It's a small production, but it's very well done. Very well done. And it was good fun.
Fun, good performances all round. A lot of singing, good singing as well.
Yeah, and incredible, the person I know in it played 4 instruments throughout the course of the show.
Something like that.
So they were all really good with their music as well, live music.
If you want to go and see them. They are touring at the moment. So they're going to Oxford, Plymouth, Redhill, Aberystwyth, Cheltenham, Portsmouth, Birmingham and Barnstable. So that entire run ends in mid-November, actually. So you've got a little while to go see them. So that's the House with Chicken Legs. So if you want to go see them, we'd very much support that decision. Recommend, that's the word. Yeah. Yes,
I would support that decision as well. But...
we'd very much recommend it. You'd be supporting a very small theatre group, and they've put a lot of work into it. And like, it's not one of those amateur dramatic things, which is a bit naff. Like, it's got some good effects in that.
Yeah, it was really good. Really well done, and I enjoyed it. And relating a little bit more actually to the autistic experience here, I would just like to say that the majority of the audience show that we went to see was a school trip.
Yeah.
And there was a time where I can't remember what happened exactly in the play, but it was like a perfect moment that really engaged all the kids. And also I felt the same energy at exactly the same time, and like there was a split second where I saw all the children start doing the thing that I was about to do. I was like, oh, these kids are like year 6, and so yeah.
But I think, as with any performing arts thing, if you've got any particular sound sensitivity, bring some sort of earplugs, just in case.
I didn't need them personally for that. I found it okay without. But, definitely. It was also, I did wear them for a bit and it was fine with them in as well.
Anyway, moving on to the next section of the show, where we want to have a little look at the news that has covered our community. So news stories based on autism and autistic people, ADHD, medication, that sort of thing, representation in the media, that kind of thing. You know what we're talking about. So we'll just go over a couple of news stories that we found during the past week, chat about them a little bit, and yeah, as I said, we'll put up everything we talk about and everything we've found but haven't talked about. They'll all go up on the Instagram page as well, so you can peruse them at your own leisure. That, of course, is the Autistic Experience on Instagram. Thank you very much. So our first story today is going to come all the way from the United States in America. That's an old Top Gear reference there.
Oh, okay.
So this news story comes from the 11th of September, which says that Amneal Pharmaceuticals has received an FDA approval for its generic version of Vyvanse, which is a drug used to treat ADHD and also binge eating. So, as you will have known if you've kind of kept up with anything in the ADHD circles, there's been quite a bit of a shortage. It's kind of a worldwide shortage of ADHD medication.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, even in the UK, I've heard people have really struggled to find medication, which is not great.
Yeah.
Considering, we need it to function.
Yeah.
But I think especially in the US, where medications are so profitable, let's call it, that, having generic versions of these branded drugs are really useful because it means the prices can go right down. So it's basically like having Tesco paracetamol instead of like Nurofen.
Yeah.
It's the same stuff, but it's just a lot cheaper, which means that hopefully a lot more people will be able to get access to it.
Yeah, okay.
Now, if you're feeling particularly brave, Chloe, you can try and pronounce what the drug is called.
I don't think it's that bad.
All right, go for it.
Lisdexamphetamine dimesylate.
Okay, cool.
I assume.
You assume, yeah.
It may be wrong.
How would I know otherwise?
Lisdexamphetamine.
But yeah, how a lot of these kind of ADHD medications work is like, as well as the brain helpingness,
Yes.
Yes, brain helpingness.
That's the technical
Yes,
term.
it is. It's also a bit of an appetite suppressant, which is why it helps with the binge eating stuff. So I think it helps probably curb a certain amount of
Therapeutic snacking.
impulsiveness. That's the word I was going for. But
Regarding
practically speaking, yeah, therapeutic snacking.
snacking, which is something that I experience a lot. I do like a therapeutic snack.
Yeah, so hopefully just being able to have some sort of extra generic ADHD meds, even if it's just over in the US, will probably help quite a lot of people.
Yeah.
But, let us know if you've had any of this generic Vyvanse. How's it gone for you? Is it improvement? Is it not quite as good? Are you still struggling to get hold of it? Probably. But yeah, there's our first story for today. The next one we're going to go for is closer to home for us from the UK. So this is that Swansea University have put out a statement which says that the autism health passport is generally not quite good enough. But yeah, so if you don't know what the autism health passport is, and before researching this, I didn't know what it was, so can't really blame you.
Yeah.
The idea is that it's just a couple of bits of paper which is designed to help us autistic people communicate our needs to the doctors, nurses, and like the other healthcare professionals that we will have to actually try and communicate with if we go in for any kind of reason.
Yeah.
So originally it was designed by the National Autistic Society, and I've had a look at some of the stuff that's on there, so you can go on autism.org.uk and find it, but also we can put out a link on the Instagram page so you can go find it. But it's got stuff about your personal information, like, your name, like what you like to be called, stuff about medication history, about how you experience pain and communicate pain, things that, you struggle with and that cause you distress, your sensory needs, special interests, that sort of thing. And it's got some extra legal stuff down at the bottom about what's called the Mental Capacity Act, because a certain proportion of people will think you're autistic and then go, okay, you're not mentally capable of making decisions, which for the vast majority of us is complete rubbish.
Yeah.
There's a little statement here that says, if you're using the clinical frailty scale, or it's a thing, don't worry about it, to assess me, please note that a diagnosis of learning disability or autism alone is not a reason to place a DNAR or CPR, so that's do not resuscitate, which is a bit of a worrying thing.
Yeah. I think that they'd assume just because you've got like a, I don't like saying learning disability, but that's what that says. So,
Well, or autism. So
yeah, like that they can just sort of make that decision for you. It's quite extreme, really.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, this is the point. They can't.
Yeah.
It says, I am autistic. Please do not assume that I do not have mental capacity, because some people might.
Yeah.
The Human Rights Act means that staff in the NHS must respect and protect my human rights when making decisions about my care. So there's all sorts of stuff in there, which is probably quite helpful for us to kind of get our head around like what our rights are.
Yeah. Well, it's also that, like, certainly I sometimes struggle in a stressful situation to remember information or to keep track of my own kind of thought processes. And so if I was stressed out, or if I was experiencing pain, like, you might not be able to think straight. And if they're asking about your medication history, or they're asking you to explain, what you're feeling, you might not be able to actually process that.
No.
Or you might not be able to describe it normally. So, yeah. I mean, it says on the link that we were using that a lot of what they looked at was to do with like staff training and staff awareness, and so it's kind of to do with other people understanding and being aware of it, like the actual medical professionals being sort of delivering care properly and not making you unnecessarily uncomfortable, I suppose.
Yeah. But yeah, this statement from Swansea University basically says that whilst the health passport itself is broadly not harmful, the lack of awareness and lack of training for those medical professionals means that even if you give it to them, they don't really know what to do with it.
Yeah. Or they forget to use it, it says as well, yeah.
So it's nice to have, and it says that, the statistics say that autistic people generally feel better about having it, but it doesn't necessarily actually do anything at the moment.
You need the other end, the staff that are supposed to be using it to also be kind of in the loop.
Yeah. That kind of lack of training, I think, is quite widespread throughout all sectors. So not just medicine, but like in education as well, where people only get maybe a half day's training on like all neurodivergencies.
Yeah.
And then they're like, okay, go, off you go, you're done.
Yep.
In other news, still in the UK, because this one's specifically relevant for you, Chloe, is that looking at the autism assessment waiting times now.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
There are now over 143,000 people waiting for an assessment.
Mm-hmm. I am one of them.
Yeah, so this was published by the National Autistic Society on the 14th of September. So it says that as of June 2023, 143,119 people are waiting for an autism assessment in England, just in England as well.
Yeah.
And that's a 47% increase on last year.
Which...
here's nice. Yes, the National Institute for Health and Care Excellence. That just goes to show that they wanted to make the acronym to be friendly.
Yeah.
So they've completely ignored the word health in that, which is probably quite accurate if the health passport doesn't really do anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, their guidelines say that no one should wait longer than 3 months between being referred and first being seen. And I think every single person on that waiting list can let out a big old laugh.
Yeah.
For that.
I've been waiting 3 months now, I think.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I've been waiting about a year for my ADHD one so far.
Yeah.
And that's not a lot from what I've heard from other people.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, I don't know, obviously most people's situations, but you might decide to pursue a diagnosis because you find yourself struggling.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you've got to wait months, years even, to get the diagnosis, that whole time, you're still struggling.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's not really useful, is it, to be honest? But I know that the service that I've gone through for my diagnosis, although I'm still waiting on that, they have closed.
Yeah, so this happened a
applications.
couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
And had we been running this version of the podcast back then, we would have covered it.
Yeah.
But Psychiatry UK are now no longer accepting new referrals through the Right to Choose programme for either autism or ADHD.
Yep.
As they apparently are attempting to clear the backlog of people waiting.
I mean, I feel like it's not necessarily going to speed up the process of clearing the backlog. It just means that they're not going to get any more new people in the queue.
Yeah.
It doesn't make the queue faster by not adding new people onto the end of it.
No.
But, you know.
So, yeah, we add that in with the issue that a couple of months ago there was a Panorama episode basically demonising private ADHD clinics. Up to the point where a lot of GPs are now no longer accepting private diagnoses or like shared care agreements, even through right to choose programs.
Damn, didn't know that.
I think it's worse with ADHD stuff because it tends to be medicated.
Yeah, okay. So they won't prescribe the medication if you've been diagnosed by a private?
It depends on the GP, which is kind of the issue, because then it becomes a what's their opinion sort of a thing.
Which shouldn't be how medicine works.
And as we know, GPs are not trained to deal with autism or ADHD. That's what the specialists are for.
Yep.
Yeah, we're still feeling the burn on that one.
Yeah.
Moving on to, I think we can probably call our final story for this week, is that the popular tabletop role-playing game Dungeons and Dragons is introducing its first canonically autistic character. So, if you don't know much about D&D, you're in for a tough couple of minutes, let me tell you.
We don't have time for this podcast episode to be 3 hours long, Kieran.
Okay, I'll try and cut it down a bit. So yeah, basically within D&D there are lots of different books which provide, different adventures and like cities and countries and monsters and characters to interact with and put out, a new book every so often just to kind of give you more to work with. The majority of people I know and I play with don't tend to use those adventures. We just make our own stories up. But you can play these kind of set adventures and these campaigns if you're not feeling quite as creative or you don't want to put the work in. But yes, they're now introducing this canonically autistic character who was written by an autistic person who works at Wizards of the Coast. So it's, here we go, so the character is called Asteria, and the designer is called Mackenzie de Almar. So yeah, whilst, it's great having a little bit of extra representation in there, for an actual canonically autistic character, it doesn't change anything in the mechanics. And, I've played, well, certainly my current D&D character I'm playing as autistic. So that's quite interesting just to kind of ramp that up a bit.
Yeah.
Rather than like hiding that bit of my brain away just to kind of like interact with the other people and characters. It's like, okay, so this bit's in charge now. Let's see what happens.
It's another thing that encourages awareness, isn't it?
Yeah.
It just makes it more normal.
Yeah.
Which is good.
The rather strange thing is that there's probably an unusually high proportion of people who play D&D are neurodivergent. So they probably play their characters as themselves. So they're probably quite a lot of autistic and ADHD characters which are played because it's the player. But, as I said, it's never a bad thing to have a little bit of extra representation.
Yeah, definitely not.
So that's our news segment for this week. We're going to go on to a little bit of sort of a Q&A, more like we scour Reddit for issues people are having, and then we can kind of vaguely answer them in the ways that would probably work for us. And then we can just answer it as if it's you listening. But of course, if you listening do have a question you'd like answered or some advice you'd like provided, then you can, of course, get in contact on our Instagram page, which is, of course, at the Autistic Experience. See how smooth that was?
That was smooth.
Smooth like peanut butter. Smooth peanut butter.
Worst type of peanut butter. Crunchy peanut butter is better.
Yeah, but it's not smooth.
No, I know, but it's better than smooth. Crunchy like peanut butter.
Yes, it was a very crunchy link. Okay, so this question is asking, should I get headphones or just mask and get AirPods? So, there is. Hold your answer. I know what the answer is going to be. And yes, I agree. But there is context. So, this person is saying, my birthday is on the 16th. So, that's yesterday. So, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
It's their 15th birthday, and as such, I've gotten a good amount of birthday money. My current headphones are nice, but the paint is chipped and the sound leaks, and one of the earmuffs things is broken. So, Naturally, I was planning to use the birthday money to get a nice new pair of noise-cancelling headphones. Good choice. Good idea. They say, I love headphones because, again, they cancel noise, and honestly, the feeling of earbuds in my ears is a massive sensory ick. Yes. However, when asking my sister for advice on what brand to get, she suggested I not get headphones at all, and instead get Airpods, which are Apple's walnuts, which everyone seems to have for some reason.
I'm not getting started yet.
She then proceeded to say that people who wear headphones around school look, says, insert not very nice word starting with an R. Lovely.
We love that one.
Without reading the rest of that, that should tell you all you need to know about what to think of this person's opinions. I then decided to ask my school friends for advice as well. I hadn't even finished the sentence, just pulled out my old headphones and started to mention AirPods when one cut me off enthusiastically, saying that headphones look stupid and AirPods are much better. Okay, so here comes the everlasting question. Do I shrug it all off and get headphones anyway, or mask, get AirPods and live with it? Now, that's the end of it. So, would you like to let loose?
Well, there's a few things
that
I'd want to complain about there. But first of all, in answer to the question directly, yes, get headphones. I have exclusively used earphones, kind of my whole life really, and I had some Bluetooth kind of AirPod style things, but not officially AirPods because that's the other thing.
In-ear headphones.
In-ear headphones, yes. And then you got me some headphones that are noise cancelling.
I did.
And they're the best things that I think I've ever experienced in my life because I find music really therapeutic and I like wearing them and cancelling out the outside world. They're good when you're travelling because you can kind of block out annoying other people that make loads of sounds and play stupid stuff on public transport. They're just great and they're comfy. And even if you don't listen to anything, you can just wear them and have the noise cancelling on and it just makes things nice and bearable. Takes the edge off, you know? There's the fact that I've always had the problem that in-ear kind of headphones, earbuds, I don't like putting them too far in my ear so they fall out a lot. Or they feel insecure. And so I don't like wearing them because I feel like I'm going to lose it. The sound quality is worse, practically. So, yeah, there's a lot of reasons why headphones are better. Also, I would like to say, on the note of AirPods specifically, that they're just stupid, in my opinion. And, yeah, everybody has AirPods, but they're like hundreds of pounds for these tiny little Bluetooth in-ear things that probably just because they've got Apple's logo on them, and I think it's ridiculous. I just think it's stupid. You could get a really good quality pair of proper headphones.
Or two.
Yeah, for that price, and the sound quality would be better. They'd be more comfortable. They'd probably look nicer, you know, I just think AirPods in particular are stupid, but all in ear, earbud headphone things are just a bit rubbish.
Needless to say, the comment section on this one was very much headphones.
Yeah.
Because, you're right, over-ear headphones cancel out a huge amount of noise, especially the noise cancellations. On the AirPods thing, I'm fairly confident that most people who have those only have them so they can listen to music in class, because you can cover them up with hair.
Yeah.
So you can't tell. It's just an evolution of what happened when we were in school, where people would just have headphones and try and hide them. But it's a much easier thing to do now because they're wireless.
Yeah, I used to do that.
So the people doing that aren't doing it to block out noise. They're doing it so they can be sneaky.
Yeah, and also they're kind of trying to be cool.
Yeah.
Because it's like a trend thing to show off that you've got the most up-to-date iPhone or you've got your fancy AirPods, and I just don't care about that.
but if you're doing it for a functional reason, which this person is, then, get what works.
Yeah, and obviously this person's already using headphones because they've got their headphones that they just want to replace. So they've used them before, they like them. You know, if you enjoy using them and they make you happy, then do it.
Yeah. But the thing is, like, that's not really the issue here. It's more that they're kind of struggling between the wanting to be able to fit in because everyone is telling them that wearing headphones apparently looks stupid.
I can relate to that because I suffered similar things when I was about that age. But I would say that, like, it's really hard to get it into your head that it doesn't matter when you're that age. So maybe my recommendation would be if you don't feel comfortable wearing headphones in school because you think other people are judging, then buy yourself some nice headphones that you like. Keep them for kind of personal use when you're not around these people. And then maybe there's some really nice earplugs that you can get online that are quite secure fitting and that cancel out a decent amount of noise, but they're really like subtle. They're really well hidden. Like if it's the noise that you want to kind of block out, then get some of them. And you can get different levels as well of noise cancellation on those. So you can get some that are better for just general conversation, some that are better for kind of loud events, but they're not very visible.
Yeah.
So, and then keep your headphones for the walk home when these people aren't around to judge.
Yeah. But also, I do think there's a sense of, if you get kind of like big chunky ones, which are very obvious, then I get the feeling that, like, because if this person is at school, then teachers and everything will be a bit more lenient if you're like, I need these because I've got sensory issues, rather than I'm trying to be sneaky with AirPods.
Yeah.
Because everyone else who has the AirPods is going to be sneaky. But if you're, ironically, quite different, then they'll kind of assume the use is very different, which it is.
Yeah. And that's the thing, isn't it? You saying that is that this is an issue that comes up so many times in our lives, is that we are different. And often other people will judge that. It's just about trying to get to a place which comes with time where you can accept the difference and just not care. That's the most important thing.
Okay, so this last bit of the show is all about what's coming up in the next week. So in this section, I've kind of had to shorten our scope just to, a couple of UK-based events. So if you're outside the UK, my apologies. But if there are any autism-based, ADHD-based, or like neurodivergent-friendly events that are going on near you, let us know. We'll put them on here, let people know. So, as it stands, with today being the 17th of September, tomorrow, Monday, there is actually quite a lot going on around the place. So, if you're in Liverpool, that sort of direction, then in Birkenhead, there is an adult autism group going on at the Liberty Bell coffee shop. It's free to just drop in. It's a weekly thing, so it's every single Monday, and it's run by the Merseyside Autistic Adults. So if you want to go look at any of their stuff, they've got an Instagram page too. That's Merseyside Autistic Adults. So if you're in the Liverpool area tomorrow or any Monday from now to eternity, you've got somewhere to go hang out. Then on the 22nd in Cardiff, there is the Autistic Minds Live show, which is more of a half conference, half like trade fair, because Autistic Minds is a charity and you can go and talk to them and look at the services and resources they have to offer. So this is in, Cardiff on the 22nd of September from between 10 and 4 at Cardiff City Stadium. So if you're in Cardiff or the South Wales area, you can go and pop along to that. That is also free to go to. And as with all the news stories we've put out, we'll put details of these out as well. Hopefully. Put a caveat there, hopefully. Meanwhile, on the 24th, so this is next Sunday, it's quite an interesting one. This one's happening in Lambeth in London. So if you are, or you know anyone autistic who is 16 or under, they're doing a fitness and boxing session for autistic under 16s in Lambeth. So that's Miguel's Boxing and Fitness Gym. It's between 10 and 11 in the morning, so it's only an hour. But I think if you're doing quite a lot of punching, then
An hour's enough.
an hour's enough. So if you're interested in that sort of thing, then that could be right up your street, assuming that street is somewhere in the vicinity of Lambeth. So yeah, we've got a couple more events we've kind of cherry-picked. We can't get to them all right now because you don't want to listen to us just rattle off a full list of things that are going on. But I think one of the things I've discovered looking at these is that you've got to be careful looking at news stories and looking at events because some are designed for autistic people and those are the ones we're focusing on, the ones which are friendly for us. Others are for families of autistic people, not the autistic people themselves. So that's oh no, it's such a pain, them being autistic. Here's how to survive them.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's not what we want to present. We want to present things for us to do, basically.
Yeah.
And then actually also on that, while I remember, there has been a new app released fairly recently, just by a single developer, so it's not particularly big at the moment. It's called NeuroHub. It's on both Android and iOS, as far as I know. And the idea is that you can go on it and rate different like locations and places for like being autism friendly.
Cool.
So whether, you know, the light levels are nice, whether it's nice and quiet, that sort of thing. So it's still fairly small at the moment. I think the dev is based in Canada, so around here there's not a lot. As you can imagine, not a lot's been done. So it's one which kind of requires us to go on and actually put a little bit of work in. So if you know any places which are particularly autism friendly, like the park down by us, I'd say is pretty good.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
we could put that on
yeah.
for that sort of a thing, for nice quiet atmospheres, like outdoorsy. But yeah, that one's called NeuroHub, spelt as you can probably expect.
That's pretty useful, that is.
We'll stick the details on an Instagram post at some point.
In the near future.
In the very near
hopefully.
future, if it's not gone up already. And with that, I think that's probably a good place to end this episode of the Autistic Experience. We've gone through quite a few bits of news stories, answered a question, been vague help. So let us know if you get up to anything fun.
Yeah.
In the meantime, if there's anywhere near you which is particularly autism friendly, then let us know. We can put it out on here.
Any fun news
Any
that you
fun
know about?
news? Yeah,
Keep us
all
in the
good.
loop.
Yeah, if you've been finally diagnosed after waiting for 6 months to a year to an eternity, let us know. Give us a shout on the Autistic Experience on Instagram. Join us again next week, next Sunday at 12 o'clock midday British time, when a new episode of the Autistic Experience will be available to download. But until then, I've been Kieran, she's been Chloe. Have a good week.
Yeah. Look after yourself.
Yeah.